Gentlemen to Europe. Well, whoops, sorry, Imperator Rome. And basically, we will be playing Migratory Tribes because I have seen a lot of people requesting them, and not a lot of people are actually making them. So, and actually, to be honest, that's my favorite government type because there's a lot of features, and later on, I love to move on to like civilized government. But either way, we're gonna do this. We're gonna show how you can play, how you can go civilized, and so on and so on. Also, I'm sorry that still our audio recording is still not the best one, but it will. We will increase it by the end of the summer. I just need to upgrade my PC, and so on. It should be all good. So, here we are. First of all, this first video is gonna be like a little bit as a tutorial as well. So first things first, you choose your country. For example, I don't know, like Leonia. There's a lot of options, so choose wisely. Also, you should keep in mind, so basically you can go over to government types, and there we go. You can see basically blue ones are civilized republics, red ones are civilized monarchies. I think that's all about the civilized. Then the green ones are tribes. The lighter green are the settled tribes. You can become from settled tribes to a migratory tribe, but it's gonna waste a lot of time. So we will be playing the darker green, which is like migratory tribes. And let's go on. This is the terrain map mode. When you zoom out, zoom in, you see the terrain. You zoom out, you see like political map mode. Enabling political map mode, you will see political map mode all the time, basically, even zooming in. And there's cultures. Like that's a large culture group, but whatever. And religion and holy sites map mode, for example. Okay, I don't see any holy sites, but I haven't played before the last update, so I am not 100% sure how like the new holy like religion works. Couldn't oh, trade goods. What? Yeah, trade goods is very important, so that's very important. Especially in how I tend to play migratory tribes, because if you go, well, I will show you in game, but let's just say me that yeah, they are really important, especially in my opinion, such as horses and grain, which is here we can see there's quite a bit of grain. Amber is good as well for your tax basically income. Fish is pretty decent, and so on and so on. You will have to study it deeper. We will go over it over time, but not in the first video. Civilization map mode is kind of important because here you can see how civilized is each province, basically. And then we have player map mode. Let's move on to terrain, I guess. So moving on, how to choose which nation you want. I usually choose the nations based on some kind of a historical interest for me or something along those lines. You can also play one of the recommended empires, though these are large ones, and it might be a little bit overwhelming to start with. Besides the Rome might be pretty decent. One of the newbie island in this game, however, is Cyprus. Here you can totally like start your own basically playthrough and expand and form Cyprus. You can move on like to over here to like Greece, and I think there's more formable nations you can do yourself. And actually it is really good to form nations because that's kind of like give you a permanent boost usually, and some temporarily ones as well. One of the most fun I can recommend is definitely Cyprus, Great Britain. If you want to play migratory tribes, there's well Cyprus is civilized, and UK is a settled tribe, however. So, but there are some migratory tribes, I believe, somewhere else as well. Yeah, there we go. There's some migratory tribes. Here we have in Scandinavia and Baltic region and part of Germany, Poland. So yeah, there are a few options for migratory tribes. Just remember, you can always make settled tribes migratory as well. So, if you don't want to like play on the islands or choose just because of history some nation, you can always just look around and watch the population, how much territories it has, a population. Basically, this is the overall population the country has, And then that is split between these four types. Citizens are what makes technology tick for you. So tribes gonna have really hard time with research. So that's the only reason probably most people will avoid tribes, because it's really unbalanced in late game. Basically, you'll fall behind really hard. Basically, freeman is what gives you manpower and so on, so on. Basically, slaves gives you money, and it also makes basically trade better, you could say, because enough slaves will double the province's trade, basically. Like, I believe it was 15 or so. And tribesmen are just basically for tribes. Let's have overall like little bit of everything. They will give you a little bit, except research. They will not give you research, but they will give you manpower, taxation, and so on and so on. It's important what population you have, because their happiness will be affected by your government centralization and stuff like that. So to get started, also there are these things like heritages. Here you can see Galindia has naval heritage, seafaring heritage, you could say, and it's okay. Then we can go on, for example, rural heritage. National tribesman happiness, pretty bad, but you get in military province investment cost, which is really good, and found city cost modifier, which is also really good. So that's decent. We have, for example, I will be playing intra-Baltic because we have like closer to this free space where we will be able to get our base power, basically. So rural heritage, pretty good, pretty good. And then forest heritage gives you archer's offense, really good in the early game, really good. Tribal happiness also really good, but in later game it's not gonna help us a lot, especially because build cost plus 10%. So we'll definitely go with either Venedia or Saloia. And since between these two Venedia has more population, I believe we'll go with Venedia. Alright, so that's about that. Moving on, we'll be playing on I don't know, I haven't played for a long time, and also I have a really hard time managing loyalty, but it seems like this difficulty no longer gives you any loyalty, only national unrest, not national manpower, which is a big boost, basically. So for beginners, I would recommend playing on very easy, obviously, but for ourselves, we could go as very hard. So let's enable Iron Man mode. I will be playing very hard, apparently. I don't know why, but we will. And here you can see your first leader, basically. So if you have played any other Paradox games, you'll see a lot of similarities. For example, there's a leader, which is really important for you. He also receives stats. In this game, there's also a lot of European Universalis features. The part what I love the most is, let's go into the game and we'll show it off. We'll call it just Venedia, no reason for us to hold the date. So, yep, there we go, we are into the game. So my favorite feature in this game, I wish they would put this in all the games, is independent operations. I just love this feature, it's so cool, and my way of playing, I always put like these clan leaders as independent, because you can never rely on them. So that's just my opinion, basically. Then we have our own, how you can separate them is because they have these blue armies and they have already leaders selected before you can't even change it. So blue armies means they are loyal to this clan chief. There are multiple clan chiefs. You go over to government. Here you can see 3 clan chiefs. You can get more, but basically the first one is you. And once your leader will die, your heir will not take over, but one of the other clan chiefs will take over. So that's a little bit annoying in my part, but oh well. So that's that. Your army is usually has some first war host, for example, like numbered and stuff like that. We get 1 archer, so that's all good. So about military, here you can see tactics. Basically, tactics is very important, and I hate it, but whatever. That's just my opinion. You can go over to here, and you can see archers. What are archers good for and bad for, stuff like that. Against, you could say. Also, you can see. So basically, let's start from the beginning. Army moment speed 2.5. If you would go over to other units, you could see that different stats. So for example, like light cavalry is the fastest, my apologies. Horse archers are really fast as well, and camel cavalry is a little bit slower, same as heavy cavalry. Chariots are way slower. War elephants are kind of slow as well. So here you can see all the movement speeds as well. Then you have maneuver. Maneuver I think is for flanking, but I'm not 100% sure. So I might be incorrect. Basically, then moving on, wait for supply limit. So that's basically for attrition, how much it takes from your land. If we go over here and select our own army, you can go over to supply map mode, and here you can see obviously we will be able to move these guys everywhere, and because we have just 1k over here, and here you can see information like supply limit 8 in this province, that in our capital we have 12, and so on and so on. So moving on, and then we have monthly damage from attrition. That's I guess how much it will suffer from attrition. Moral damage taken plus 20, okay. Strength damage taken minus 50. Either way, moving on, here we see food consumption. That's how much food it will consume if it's outside of a province where he can sustain himself. He basically, like if he's in an enemy territory, he will start eating the food storage, and you can also below that see food storage number. So for example, for if you got over to archers, they consume 10 food, and food storage is at 2.4. So that means it's gonna have like food enough for itself for 24 years. Of 24 months, my apologies. If you have trouble with that, you can also always recruit supply trains. They're specifically meant for carrying food, but they are really bad in combat. If they get in like front lines, they will get most likely crushed. So that's about that. In my opinion, like there's no reason to build light infantry unless you have really good national ideas. I usually start off with archers for my own army, and chariots I don't usually build them as well, because they're like just, in my opinion, they seem like just weaker than archers. So yeah, basically the best unit here probably is a war elephant, strong all around, but it's gonna have like a lot of like historically it has you can see weight for supply limit is plus 200%, so that's a lot. So you won't be able to just build full war elephant army and just stomp everyone. So you will need some other units as well. So obviously light cavalry and horse archers is really good as well. I usually tend to build heavy cavalry with some light cavalry and so on. Heavy infantry is really good as well. Well-rounded, very powerful. So yeah, that's about that. Let's terrain map mode. So usually I start a game by recruiting some units, but that can wait for the time being because I have some other things. But for those tactics, what I mentioned, yeah, you just need to see your army composition basically, because the different units will have different. They will be different, better in different tactics basically. And as you can see here, there are some bonuses and disadvantages against different tactics. So it's important to keep an eye what your enemy is using, what kind of tactics. Also, another thing what I really hate here, because AI will adapt really fast to these in most cases, and I'm just too lazy to keep it up, basically, even in large battles. But that just doesn't matter. Then you can go over here and you can see national overview. So this is really important in a lot of ways. Here you can see some information about your basically land and stuff like that, national tourism and happiness, because we're migratory tribe, our heritage once again if you want to double check it. So here you can see military ideas. We can pick two ones. We can actually pick any idea we want, but if you want to receive this bonus over here, national tribesman output, you will have to pick up military ideas basically. So I always recommend doing that, and we will just do that. Let's pick up morale of armies, and let's go for reinforcement speed and army morale recovery. That's a really good one as well. So we won't be building a lot of ships probably, so That's gonna be good enough for us. Power base of Venedia 69. Excellent. So now you can see we have green tick basically here because we picked two military ideas. These are civic ideas, oratory, and religion. The first one is military. Picking each costs you political influence, and political influence is generated based on a lot of stuff, but you can usually go over here and see the most what it is generated from. So I can't remember immediately all the modifiers, but there are quite a lot of them. So yeah, here you can see all larger provinces. So basically if you go over here to province map mode, there we go. Here you can see all different provinces. From these province map modes, you can see all the provinces, and each province will be able to have this policy, either one or the other. And you can change it, but it will cost you political influence. So, and the sad part is, if you, in your capital, like how could province supply? My apologies, guys. Location, zoom to capital. I think you used to be able to select larger area as well, but I can't seem to find it. Well, anyways, there are provinces, and then there is like larger areas, you could say, and in one area we'll have one governor. Here you can see we have the same governor because that's in one area, and in the capital it's always going to be your tribal chief. But if you move on to like other, you'll have to assign a new governor for that larger area. So I think there used to be oh dude, seriously? Oh, food, there we go. Oh dude, I got worried for a moment there. Alright, so regions, there we go. These are regions, and for each of these you will have like different governors. You can also like drag these by clicking this, and then you can put up what. Alright, so and you can put here a different map modes basically. Territory rank, holdings. Yeah, this is I think a new one. Let's put up barbarians as well. Here we can see barbarians. So barbarians is pretty harsh because it's really hard to get out of them. So they will over time generate barbarian power, and when they have enough, they will spawn a barbarian army which will come and raid your country basically. But that's for later. You will see how it happens, and it will destroy your civilization and so on and so on. So moving on, here we see a government screen. Government screen is for your government, obviously. Here you can see some laws, what you can set up, and show your offices, which is kind of like your chancellors in different games. And so here we see our tribal chief, our candidate to be our next chief once our current chief dies. He's a Venedian minor character. Interesting. So here we have some decisions as well. For example, like encourage tribal migration, hold war games, which will increase your monthly population for some 5 years. Summon War Council, which is really good, but I will show you that off actually right now. But first we will form some alliances. So alliance you want to form in the first date, because otherwise it might get difficult to get the alliances you would like. In this case, I will try to take Bastarnia as our ally because he has quite a large population and land, and same goes for cohorts. Here, opening up with a right click, you can see here his diplomatic view and basically some little stats about his country, like his nation, treasury, manpower. So manpower is a resource which replaces when some units die in your own army. Clan chiefs use their own manpower, so that's really important to know. But yeah, manpower is only used for your own armies. Later on, for such as like this guy, you can see that this one is not loyal to him, so we can we split it? Create a new unit. So we can split this unit, and actually we can disband it before it gets loyal to him, because this unit is created from our, like, basically our manpool. So if it would get loyal, we would not no longer be able to, like, control this unit, and it would be, but it still would use our resources. So we will actually respawn this unit. We will not lose any manpower. We'll even gain some, but yeah, there we go. So that's about that. So I didn't want to use chariots because it's expensive and it's, you could say, even worse than archers. So yeah. So once again, back to diplomacy view. So once again, you have 1k unit. If 500 of them dies, it will come out of your manpower. You generate manpower over time, and you can see maximum and the current one we have. So moving on, here we can see what ships he has, stability, number of territories, how much land he basically holds, and the number of populations. So in this specific case, we'll be wanting to conquer our neighbors really fast. So Bostania seems like a really good option since he is a little bit far away, and he might not intervene in our wars, maybe. So let's move on and check out other powers as well. Maybe you can form some other alliances. Don't be afraid to early game, just form a lot of unnecessary alliances. They might despawn it later on, but it doesn't matter. Just keep an eye on your diplomatic slots. We have diplomatic relationships. We currently can hold 3, and you can select your stance basically for your country. That's another thing you can do, and this one gives us another diplomatic relationships. But there's a lot of others that we can do. For example, like in early game, this is a good one, but later on you might want to change it to a different one. For example, this one gives you improved relationship cost, aggressive expansion, which is pretty decent. Also increase opinion of your allies, and mercantilism is good for trade routes basically and stuff like that. This is for like a war focus, but it will worsen all relationships and domineering, migration speed, and loyalty of subjects. So this is for if you have like a lot of subjects and stuff like that. So that's about that. But for now, we will stay with neutral stance, and that means we can have 3 allies. And I think we could stay with. Well, I'm not sure about the Lugia one, but I'm pretty sure that Semnonia will not be very helpful in our wars, but still we can try to form this alliance. Also moving on, let's pick up Lugia, I guess. Yeah, let's pick up Lugia. It might get though intervene in our wars like we don't like to, so maybe that's not the best option. What about, maybe you want some Scandinavian allies, though they will almost never come to your aid, by the way, because currently they are too far away. So I'm not sure how they will form these alliances, so that's very important part of the which allies we pick, but just for now we can probably offer alliance to Lugia as well. Alright, moving on. Now we can summon the War Council. I usually tend to do this really fast with Migratory Tribe, and it will give us causes belly a reason to attack to one of our neighbors. For example, now it gives us reason to attack Skiria. Well, that's not the one I wanted, but you can see it will affect our loyalty of our. Basically, you could say them as a vassals, but they're kind of like important families. They're the leaders of basically our people. Sudonia is right over here. Well, this would be a better target actually, but this is totally a better target, especially if we would form alliance with these other 2 people. So I guess we will pay with loyalty, which is really harsh, but hey, that's why sometimes you might not want to do that actually. Loyalty is really hard to handle. We can grant him holding, but that will cost us some money, and we will give him away holding, which will increase his power basically. We could try to make him as a friend, and it could help us. So let's try it. to achieve that. So moving on, we have the Summoned War Council. Here we can see our chiefs. Here you can see set up your default retinue cohorts. The cohorts are your basically army build, and usually you will see what I do with these. It's really important, but anyways, you will see that lower. Usually in early game I keep to don't change these too much. And here you can see laws. So for tribes there are two trees. One is which focuses on decentralization, to become like more decentralized basically, obviously, and the other one is about centralization, to become more civilized. And the bonuses for both of them are really good. For example, around culture group happiness, really good. Manpower, yeah, okay. Um, National tribesman output, also really powerful. National tax, really good. Monthly stability, excellent. This is a really good one to have. Loyalty of clan chiefs, that's probably really good as well. Wow. Okay, pop assimilation, really good as well, but well, it will cost us dearly. Monthly primary culture happiness, also really good. Enslavement efficiency, excellent if you go like decentralized. But once again, this side is for decentralized. We will want to become centralized, so the sooner the better, basically. But this will cost us stability. So first thing is first. I can't remember all the rules. Monthly civilization change, national commerce income. Yeah, we will change these a little bit later. First, we will go over some other stuff. So this is our traditions. Usually most governments get different traditions, but they can't change them if I'm correct, I think. And you will slowly generate military traditions. Military tradition, you can military expertise. I think that's the same, right? I think so. So you'll generate it slowly over time, especially if you are drilling your armies. Over here you can see has not greater than 0 clan returns. Okay, drill armies would get a lot of bonuses, but it will cost more expensive, and it will gain monthly experience gain, which is excellent. But also it will increase your loyalty gain chance, which is pretty decent as well. And that reminds me, we should. I usually tend to in our main army put our ruler as general. But you have to be careful if he has good military, basically. Alright, so, technology. Oh, this is a good one, but I will show you later these inventions. But these basically are your researchers. You can see we have no research points, and that's really bad, but that's how it is with tribes, and you cannot do much about it. So we'll do these later, but technology is kind of really important in this game, so that's the only disadvantage of playing tribes. You basically get no research. So it doesn't matter so much in early game, for us at least, unless I'm doing something wrong. Here is religion. Here you can see your country's stability. You can increase it by sacrificing some piggies, which will cost you political influence. So you have to decide your. Ooh, what is this? Yeah, this is new. Happiness is increased. Omen power, which is excellent. Here you can activate one of them. You can also change them. We have some decisions. So here we see currently we have national commerce income if we activate it, and some passives. Monthly stability change. Well, that's pretty decent. So we might actually keep this one. And also you can overlook the other one, military tech investment. Ooh, well, that's pretty good one. But it won't help us because we are not generating any technology anyways as a tribe. Moving on, here we can see we can't select anyone else, but either way this is a pretty good one as well. Golden water food modifier. So over here for this one we have supply limit, which is also pretty decent, and if we activate it we get morale of armies, which is really great. But also we can select other one, starting experience, manpower recovery speed, and if we activate it even more manpower recovery speed. So yeah, how much can we change these? I'm not sure, but we'll check it out. Currently we have over here we have state religion happiness and pop conversion speed unactivated basically. But if we go over here we can see monthly ruler popularity gain, or the other one, primary culture group happiness. So actually most of these are really good ones, but we're definitely going to use this morale of armies one later on. Let's move on to the next one. We'll definitely like see more uses of these and how they react in the game over time. But first thing is first, so our economy. is really good, really important as well. And here you can change some things around. National slave output, we could definitely activate this since we don't generate any research points, so I guess why not? No disadvantages for it. For the time being, we could also decrease pay for our units because, oh, but we will want to drill them, so if I'm correct, we cannot have decreased pay if we are drilling them. Yep, we cannot have it, so we will actually put it to neutral, but we will want to and drill them. So that's about that. Monthly corruption -10. Ooh, wow, monthly corruption is really good. But we cannot afford it for the time being, so that's about it for now. Diplomacy, we already talked about this. And then we have three decisions. Unite Asturia, which is unite all our culture basically into one nation, and we will get basically some good bonuses, especially with the emergent central civilization, local population growth, local fort defenses, and local civilization level. Form tribal kingdom, which is basically us coming with what? Settled tribe. Oh, good, yeah. The decisions, a trade overview. This screen will look more into it later on. Then we have characters. These are basically more all characters you can use in your country. Usually what I like to do, I don't know if that's a good idea or bad, but I like to adopt the ones who are like, who have no important families. But I don't see the option any longer, but okay. You can also select a clans. This shows just the important families in your, important characters in your realm. And missions. So missions is really important, but we'll select this one after we have migrated, because, and then we'll now show off the migration basically. So Omen we will save for now. Does it cost anything to activate it? No, it doesn't. So just for time being we might set religion happiness. Well, that's pretty powerful. Aggressive expansion and national commerce income. I guess we could activate state religion happiness in 5 years. I don't know, we might go to war, so actually let's just activate. But then, no, we'll wait. Let's go to inventions. Yeah, we'll do this in a little bit. Let's start my master plan, basically. The migration. So what I usually do is I migrate, it's gonna cost us, but I migrate some units where we will start basically migrating. Yeah, shock, am I right? So how you migrate your units to like different countries? You go over here, you go view pops, and then you move pop here, and we'll just be moving all of these units over to this province. You can see we lost all these provinces because there were no longer any of our pops which would say, hey, this is our land. So we lost that. Also, we will do the same thing over here, and there we go, we lost another province, but no worries, because now we will start migrating. It will cost us stability, but it's not the worst part, because you will see in a second. There we go, we started migrating. Now, can we change the laws? I can't remember. Yeah, we can indeed. So, important decision. Do we want to take any of these? So, because these are really powerful. Realm culture, group happiness. Wow, that's really powerful as well. These are really good ones. I'm really tempted to just take one of them, but that will totally slow us down. Popular assimilation speed. Ooh, I'd really want to take one of these. Oh, primary culture group happiness. Pop assimilation speed, really good one to have. Monthly centralization loyalty of clan chiefs. Monthly stability, well, I guess we'll do without them, though they are really good ones. For example, I will try to become civilized as fast as possible, but in most cases, if you're like playing the show like slowly, you might just want to pick like one of these, which gives you monthly centralization minus 0.05, and just take this one really strong one. You will still slowly generate centralization. Centralization necessary for you to form settled tribe, basically. Because here you can see we have centralization of minus 50. To become settled tribe, we need centralization at least plus 25, so that's a big difference. Since we will want to kind of rush it, because Yeah, because of reasons. We will probably not pick any of these though. Once again, I say it's really important. And well, here we go. Let's wait for that centralization to boost. And now about the migratory tribes. Here we see some units. They are called migratory units. They show as light units, and I think they had some disadvantages as well, because they're migratory units and they will use your manpower if they start losing units or to attrition or anything else, so be careful with that one. In emergency situations you can also use them as, like, if you're losing a war and you really need those units, you can use them as a army basically, and I have done that and it sometimes really works out for the best. Like, we could usually even do it now, but that could come in really handy. But I'm not sure if we want to do that. Actually, I will think about it. But once again, when you have decided the place you want to settle, you can just click this button, settle, and they will settle here, and the province will become yours. You cannot do it on a different nation, obviously, because obviously, and you can split in half. You can create new units and do this. So, because for example, here you can see there's 0 pops, so we would need just 1 pop to settle here. But if you move on over to this province, there are 2 pops. To settle this province, you need at least 2 migratory pops, like, for example, like create new unit, and we need at least this large army to settle that province. So that's important, because otherwise you won't be able to settle it. What else? We have lack of commanders. For migratory units, you can set some generals in order, but in most cases there's no need, because you won't hold on to them for that long. What about, yeah, we formed the alliances. For the first episode, I think we're pretty much done. So in the next episode we will finally decide where we will migrate, and then we will start finally the real game. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you then.